Hey guys, how's it going? Kripp here. So today I want to talk about my overall experience playing Diablo 3. I've played the expansion on beta, and it is an early stage of beta, so probably a lot of what I'm going to talk about is going to at least be slightly different when the game comes out. And I've been playing for about 4 or 5 days. I've been playing about 10 hours a day, and I started from absolutely nothing. So yes, in beta there are a lot of shortcuts and there are some bugged abilities that do like 100 times the normal damage. It allows you to progress a little bit faster. So, to those that are like, oh, Kripp beat the game in 5 days, it sucks and all that. It's probably not going to be the case. It'll probably take quite a long time. So before I get into all the details and show you guys some game footage and all that, I want to talk about the overall kind of idea that I've seen come from Blizzard when it comes to the Reaper Souls expansion so far. So what it seems like they're trying to do is they're trying to come up with like their own type of RPG game, and it's like you log in, you kill monsters, and your character improved from the time that you logged in to the time that you logged out. They're trying to maximize that experience rather than going like super in depth and all that. I'll do like a Path of Exile comparison because I know it's been a pretty popular topic as of late, but they are very different games. Path of Exile kind of works to be a game that is just super in depth. There's so many possibilities, and analyzing, testing, and coming up with radically different builds and all that is a large part of the game. Where in Diablo 3, you just make a character, you have fun, you kill monsters. You get some OP items, you get some OP buffs, you do the maps, the rifts, and it's just a different type of playstyle where in D3 you're really just actively doing stuff and you just smash monsters in the face, and that's really the experience you're trying to capitalize on. And a lot of the changes that I've seen in the beta from the game that, let's to be fair, the game that I played a year and a half ago, not really possibly the game that's out right now, the current state of Diablo 3, the main differences are that it's really streamlined this experience of just crushing monsters as much as possible. So what's the main difference? Well, when I first started playing, I thought there was the normal and the nightmare and the hell and the inferno and all that, but as it turns out, there is no difficulty in that sense anymore. The game works from, you make a character, you kill monsters. If you level up, then the monsters that you're killing also level up, which is kind of a cool idea because, as you level up, the monsters don't necessarily get harder, but as you progress through the acts, it has that experience because the monsters in the higher acts just are more difficult based on the abilities they use and the AI that they have. Act 1, they're zombies. They don't move too quickly. But like Act 5, there's monsters that have a crazy amount of armor. When you hit them, you have a certain time window where they go underground, and when they go underground, they become a different type of monster. And when there's a different type of monster, they also, again, have a lot of armor. So you got to maximize your DPS window after crushing the high armor phase and chase the monsters around. They're not zombies. So the AI kind of scales the game for you, even though the difficulty based on your level stays roughly the same, which is really cool. I definitely did not enjoy killing all the bosses 4 times in the first version of the game. So it kind of made making new characters a chore as opposed to now where it's, it's pretty fun. I made another barbarian yesterday and that was pretty fun. I got right into it. So you can play the game that way, but there's also the other mode of where you can do bounties. And bounties are there is no quests in the game, but you can complete some of them for some bonus experience, but it's fairly minimal. It's a different game mode. When you start up a game, you have the option to go in adventure mode, which I believe is the questing thing, and then there's the other one with the bounties. I don't know, maybe I'm mixing them up, but basically that's the idea. There's the quest mode, the regular type of gameplay, and there's the other mode where you go around and do bounties. So what are bounties? Bounties are these each act will have 5, and they're mostly random, and they mostly are kill this one monster and 50 monsters in the zone, or, complete this event in the zone, or some cases clear this level, which those really suck, I have to say. Sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes when I ask you to kill 50 monsters in a zone, I've noticed that the mob density is so radically different sometimes that sometimes there's not even 50 monsters in the zone, so you have to go to a separate zone, drag the monsters in the zone to complete the quest. So they have some fine-tuning to do there. But, you know, pretty cool concept. It's definitely the highlight of the game that I've seen so far, because if you do one of these bounties, you get like a little baggie of goods, and when you do all 5 in one act, you go to Tyrael gives you another baggie of goods, and it's really sweet, and you all get loot explosion from the sky, and it's so cool. Awesome experience. You got a lot of experience doing these, so probably instead of grinding a zone for Paragon experience and all that, you'll be doing bounties, which I've found so far a lot of fun. Now, the big changes in the game are the ones that I think need to be focused on, and I am pretty pleased with it. They removed the auction house, and I have heard that, you know, I don't remember the source, but I have heard that they actually removed gold from trading, so maybe not, maybe so. We'll see if that turns out to be true. But what I have seen is that legendary items, which are now bind on account, are really overpowered. And I want to show you guys a few examples here as I start up. So probably the most overpowered item that I have is this one. It's a word, and it's a ring. And it says, prevent all fire damage taken and heal yourself for 25% of the amount prevented. So there are a few more overpowered items than this. There is a pair of gloves that increases the duration of shrines that you take to 1 hour, which is crazy. But nonetheless, an item as this is pretty game-breaking. And I have found rings for about 4 other elements as I've played. So my guess is that there is a ring for every element. And for those of you that haven't played Diablo 3 ever, if a monster does elemental damage, probably half the time it does fire damage. So an item like this is just so absurd that it kind of jumps the difficulty. Now, there's modes in this game that you can set the difficulty. There's no more monster power, any of that. There's like, you know, there's normal, hard, expert, master, and then torment, and then torment has 6 levels, and on torment 6, the monsters, they hit like, you know, like twice as hard as torment 1, for instance. But they have an absurd amount of life. So the way that you kill them is by cheesing crushing blow, and the way you survive to have enough damage is by using stuff like this to where you eliminate some things that you need to survive the game, which is kind of cool, but it relies on you getting these. So if you're really unlucky, you won't see a word ward for a very long time, while your friend may get one, and the game is going to be surprisingly a lot easier for him than it is going to be for you. And another item that I have, which I find extremely overpowered, is this one. Chance on hit to create a chaos field at the enemy's location for 5 seconds, causing enemies inside to be confused. Confused is basically mind control, but you can still attack them. So what ends up happening is I cast my AoE on one target. They get pulled in because of my amulet, but you know, I have pull-in abilities if I didn't have the amulet. All the enemies on the screen are in one spot, and then the mind control triggers, and every enemy on the screen is getting mind controlled. So even on like Torment 6, where the monsters have an absurd amount of life, I could still kill them because this item causes them to kill themselves. So it creates a situation where, yeah, you know, you have 1 million damage, you have millions and millions of effective life, and this and that, and gear, and oh, so good stats. But you can pretty much beat the game just relying on several legendary bonuses, which is pretty cool. But hopefully you get the legendaries you want to make it happen. The other pretty cool stuff are like rifts. Rifts are basically, if you played Path of Exile, it's like doing a white map, and the only maps that can drop in that map are the same level map, and they only drop white. So it's very vanilla. It's pretty lame when you compare that concept to that in Path of Exile, so hopefully they expand on it. But in practice, it's pretty fun. Sometimes you get absurd mob density, and the highlight of the rifts are the really powerful rift-only shrines, which like some of them like quadruple your damage. Some of them give you like, you know, Thor-like abilities where you just zap everything on the screen with lightning, and it like insta-kills everything. So it just makes you feel really powerful. It's really fun. I mean, the monsters don't really drop anything special compared to outside the Rift, so, you know, having some really cool, really OP shrines is fine. And that's kind of the aspect that I've seen Diablo 3 evolve into, where, you know, they're trying to make it so your character at certain points is like, you know, an absolute god. And people really love this, I assume, because, you know, hey, I've played it for a short while and I kind of love it. Now, there are a few downsides that I see with the expansion, and, you know, again, this is a beta, maybe these will get addressed, maybe not, we'll see. But for the most part, I've found that there's like a very low character attachment. So what that means is like, it's kind of easy, which I guess is kind of the point, where if you want a barb and you don't have a barb, you make a barb, and hey, you have a max level barb that can spec any which way possible, you know, maybe within a few hours of creating your new character, which is, I guess, okay. But it makes a situation where you don't really have to level at all past the Paragon levels point, which now I believe are infinite, which, you know, is okay. My main concern is really this. There's pretty much, you know, very, very limited build diversity. And even if there is some build diversity, it brings it to the point where you can just spec it. They haven't really addressed that fact, and I feel that really detaches players from their character. So for instance, you know, if you get all these legendary items and they're all really sweet and they're all like really, you know, making you beat the content, and you have them on your barbarian, and you're like, yeah, I think I'll make a monk. You make a monk. 2 hours later, the monk is max level. You make the most optimal build for the monk. You move all the items in your barb onto the monk. Bam, you have an overpowered monk. So I can see the advantage in this, where people get to try stuff, but I feel it accelerates the you know, the adventure, the curiosity in a player too quickly through the game. And in the end, you know, they're going to have a character that they like, sure. They're going to have a character that has full legendary items, and, you know, they have enchanted legendary items, so even though they didn't drop with the best rolls, they have almost the best rolls, and, you know, they're just farming Paragon levels. So reaching this point in the game, I feel might be too soon. And that's really my main criticism of the game. But overall, pretty cool, pretty fun experience. I'll be playing it for, you know, sometime longer. I don't really think we'll see the days of where, you know, only Kripp and Krippy killed hardcore Diablo before the nerfs and all that. Yeah, those days are kind of over for the game. But it's a pretty fun game. I know some of you guys enjoy watching it, and I'm sure those that do will enjoy playing it once the game is live. So hope you guys liked it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.